Over the last few years, I've had the chance to work with a lot of dog owners, and 90% of them were making the same three mistakes. Not just small mistakes, but mistakes that made their dogs harder to train, less focused, and more frustrated. These aren't always obvious, that's what makes them dangerous. So if progress is feeling slow, if your dog seems to be stuck, this is probably why. Mistake number 1 is about relying on inefficient communication with your dog. If you want training to work, the first thing you need to ask yourself is very simple. Does my dog actually understand what I'm telling him? Because if he doesn't, nothing else matters. No reward system, no correction, no cue. Communication is the foundation, and most owners build it wrong from the start. So in dog training, we communicate in two ways: naturally and artificially. Natural communication is rooted in how dogs experience the world. It's rewards and consequences. It's what happens when a behavior leads to something the dog values or something he wants to avoid. But most owners use this form of communication poorly. Their timing is off, their delivery is inconsistent, their rewards aren't rewarding enough, or their corrections are confusing. So the signal gets lost in the noise and the dog stops learning. On the other hand, artificial communication is what we create. So verbal cues, hand signals, and markers. These don't mean anything to the dog unless we condition them. But owners throw words at their dog like he's fluent in English. They repeat commands that were never thought. They overload the dog with signals that were never made clear. And when the dog doesn't respond, they think he's being difficult when in reality he's just unsure. So the dog tunes out, the training stalls, and the relationship quietly breaks down, not because the dog is stubborn, but because the message never came through. So if you want a dog that listens, start by learning how to speak his language, both the one nature built and the one you're trying to build on top of it. The second most common mistake that owners make all the time is wasting the power of play. Owners tend to see play as a way to burn energy, something separate from training or to catch a break. But with this mindset, they are wasting one of the greatest tools they have to train their dogs. Because when used correctly, play isn't a distraction, it's direct access to your dog's mind. It builds engagement, sharpens obedience, and transforms your relationship from passive to dynamic. But here's the key: play must be structured. That means your dog learns to bring the toy back, not to run off with it, to let go when asked without negotiation, to control his impulses and wait for permission instead of launching into chaos. These aren't bonus behaviors, they are what make play usable in training and valuable in life. Structured play gives you what formal sessions often can't: movement, emotion, and real-time control under arousal. It lets you practice obedience while the dog is excited. It gives him a channel to express drive without becoming unmanageable, and more importantly, it creates shared intensity, where you and the dog are locked into the same game at the same time with the same goal. When owners ignore that or let play stay unstructured, they miss the most direct path to building a dog who actually wants to work with them. Now the third mistake that owners do over and over, and probably also the most dangerous one, is seeking help for training the wrong way. Most dog owners reach a point where they realize they need help, but the way they search for it sets them up to fail. They scroll endlessly through social media, chasing scattered advice and surface-level hacks. They try to apply strategies without context, mixing philosophies that never meant to coexist. And when it doesn't work, they blame themselves, or worse, their dog. But the truth is, you don't need more tips, you need a system, a way to understand your dog, a way to think clearly under pressure. And no, the answer isn't sending your dog away to a board and train. Because the real breakthrough doesn't happen when someone else trains your dog, it happens when you do. That's when synergy begins, when you stop outsourcing growth and start owning it. That's where the real bond forms. That's how trust, leadership, and communication evolve. That's exactly what we have built with Deep Canine, a place where dog owners can learn how to become their dog's trainers through deep practical content on everything, from behavioral issues to advanced obedience. But more than that, you're not doing it alone. I personally guide and support everyone inside. So if you are ready to grow, I'm right there with you. And even if you don't do it with us, find someone who can teach you. Not someone who trains your dog for you, but someone who makes you capable. Because that's where synergy begins, and that's the only way it lasts. So if you made it this far, chances are you care enough to do better. Make sure to fix these mistakes, and I guarantee you that your life with your dog will significantly improve. And if you enjoy this type of content, please make sure to subscribe so that I can catch you in the next one.